TFL has decided to revoke Uber's license in London from the end of September. Now, they do have a right to appeal, and while the appeal is happening, people will still be able to drive as Uber drivers and passengers will still benefit from the service. It may take quite a while for a conclusion to be reached. In the meantime, you, especially the Uber driver who is working full-time, are in a pickle, correct? And today I'm going to give you some practical tips and advice what you can do to come out of this situation. Coming up, roll the intro. Hey name tags and welcome. This is Ash from Hill My Tech, helping you go from newbie to techie. As you can see, I'm not in my normal office environment. I'm deciding to do this very quickly. I'm using my Samsung Galaxy S5 and the Boya BY-M1 plugged in straight. I haven't scripted this. There's going to be lots of and and pauses. Please bear with me. I just wanted to do this very quickly. Now, you may have been following the story. Uber is an app facilitator to connect people who have a car and people who need a ride. Hence the concept of Uber driving, which is a low cost alternative to minicab office and black cab, and it's also available 24/7. More and people have been joining. It's created work opportunities for a lot of people, and especially they don't have to be tied down to a contract. Now, brilliant in theory. As you know, there's been some problems. What's happening is that TFL has deemed Uber not to be fit for the service they're offering. Uber is trying to say they're not a transport or cab company, they're just an app software facilitator, and the people who drive for them are self-employed. Some people are saying Uber is avoiding responsibility by not giving annual pay, not giving minimum wage, and reducing the money that's actually given back to the driver as their wages. So who knows who's right or wrong? We're going to wait for the battle to be drawn out. On top of that, there's been some problems with sex attacks on passengers, which has been wrongly reported or not dealt with. Again, avoiding the accountability and responsibility. So all in all, it's a big mess. However, these are corporate level problems. And as usual with big corporations, you, the low person, not even the middle person, and me, we are the ones to suffer. Now, I don't use Uber as a service, and I'm not an Uber driver. I have lots of friends who are Uber drivers, and they depend on this because they've made this into their full-time job. And I can understand the ease or the facility that's been given to the passengers from the Uber service. So I'm going to be giving you some tips of what you can do to rethink this whole situation, whether or not Uber gets the license back. This is something you should be considering. We're going to go through this right now. So number one, putting all your eggs in one basket is a bad idea. You have thought, or you have assumed, rightly or wrongly, that you're going to be okay with Uber. It's zero contract hours, you're your own boss, you're self-employed, you work whenever you want. But now, this is showing, once again, that these concepts, when you're depending on a company or any institution which doesn't give you any contract and doesn't have any responsibility towards you, at least not until now, then you have an illusion of being self-employed and of being free. And now this is catching up with you. So that's your number one problem, depending on something which you have no control over for your income. Now you might say this is true for any organization you work for. Yes, like even if you work for the government or the NHS or any local authority, your job is not as secure as it used to be. As you know, we've been from recession and there's been a lot of problems. So what do? Now, first bad idea, you should not depend on Uber as a main source of income for your full-time employment. I would advise you to start thinking about getting a second job. That way, even if TFL decides to renew the license, you can still continue with Uber. It does give a bit of a backup income, but tomorrow other policies may change. Anything can happen. It's a bad idea. Second point, you should look for a different job, not necessarily in a driving capacity. The reason is because whether it's Uber or not, again, your full ethos is about driving for a living. What if, may God forbid, what if something happens that, and I'm not talking accidents necessarily, anything can happen that you can't drive anymore. Maybe there's issues with cars, there's issues with petrol, there's issues with transport, there's issues with traffic, there's laws that's been changed. What if you can't do driving as a job anymore? So you may think, keep driving as a job, but I would say you should look for a job that is nothing to do with driving. So even if you're in a capacity where you can't drive, you can still have a source of income. So reduce your Uber to part-time and get a second part-time job. That would be ideal. All right, point number 3. If you don't want to get a completely different job to a driving field, consider staying in the driving field, but look for other jobs like chauffeuring, Amazon delivery. Some people say it's quite good, depends how you work. I don't deliver for Amazon, but you should look into that. Consider making small contracts with small businesses. I'm sure there are ways for you to stay within the driving field and not necessarily a car. Maybe consider a commercial transport vehicle for delivery of goods. I'm just saying you should try and expand your horizons and try to see whether there's a gap in the market and you can fill that. Point number 4, whether you get a second part-time job in a driving capacity or a non-driving capacity, at the end of the day, you're still putting your time in something to get an income. And that's called an active income. If you don't work, you're not going to get anything back, except obviously, in some organizations you have sick leave and annual leave, but they're limited anyway. You still have to be physically working. I'm sure you've heard of this, but I'm going to remind you there's also a way of making income called passive income, whereby one of the examples is initially if you buy a property, you have some initial costs, spend some time doing it up, and then you start renting, and then with very minimal input throughout the rest of its lifetime, you will be raking in the rent. And you have to do some minor repairs every now and then, but it's usually not major, and the time taken is very little. So that's called passive income. Other ways to make passive income, like you write a book and you maybe publish it and sell it through Amazon, and you get paid from royalties or whatever it is, and you get the idea. So what I would advise you to do is this: definitely look for a second job, whether it's driving capacity or not, but also start researching and looking into a passive income means. You get the idea? I'm going to put links to everything I'm talking about, and maybe it might be a playlist of how to make passive income. Now, that's in terms of looking for a job or finding a passive income. Should you consider doing a business, a side business? And we're, I think, point number 5 right now. Now, 2 ways you could do this. If you're with Uber and you're driving, you have contact with clients, and I'm not aware about the full policies about whether you're allowed to do different services while you're driving, but you should look into that. And again, this brings me back to my point that you think you're self-employed and you're free, but you're still bound by so many restrictions and limitations. So you're not really self-employed, you're more like having 0 contract hours, correct? Okay, so if you're driving passengers, you have physical contact with them, and there may be restrictions on whether you get their information or not, but that you need to look into. Can you use the fact that you are already driving, you have contact with customers? Are you able to sell them a service or a product without breaching rules from TFL or Uber? You need to tell me, because I don't know. And again, if you say you can't, then you should rethink what you're doing, because you may think you're self-employed, looks like you're not, okay? What I would say, for example, one idea, some people are doing this call with McDonald's delivery from Uber, yeah? Okay. At the back of your car, if the passenger is sitting, you should be able to put a screen, maybe, if you're allowed, and have some sort of services displayed, like an ad, or you're sponsoring or you're collaborating with a company or a service that you may be able to sell them something that way, or at least get them to view the ad, and you may be able to maybe you can get paid for that. I'm just saying, think of it. Think of services you can use outside of just you physically driving, because that would come in handy if you have to start considering making a business. Again, if you think you need tons of capitals to make a business, you don't. Maybe for some business, but not all business. And I'm going to put a link up above in a video that I actually did to explain how I got into tech repair. But there's also other videos in there, and I'll put a playlist that you can start a business without any money as well. It's the concept that you need, just like what Uber done. And I think that's about it for today. So I just wanted to remind you of this little principle that you may think things are quite bad right now, and you would be right, and you should use this as an example, as a reminder for yourself, like a wake-up call. Doing a business, being self-employed is not for everyone, but it would be unwise to keep working for only one company or organization. The rich people, they call this MSI, multiple source of income. If you have multiple sources of income and they don't need to be the same ratio, I'm not saying you should work 50% of your income as an Uber driver and 50% as an Amazon delivery, but if you have more than one source of income, something happens when one 2, then you're still okay. You can work on the rest or find more. Okay, so that's all for today. I am sorry that the format was not the same as you used to, and also I may have blabbered a bit, and I may have been and ums and paused, and it's not been scripted, but hopefully the message got through, and I wish you all the best. I'm available if you want to discuss specific concepts with me. You know how to contact me. I'm willing to also consider doing something similar, because and if I will refer you back to a video I've done about using the time to your advantage and using situations to your advantage, and it's called you are asleep for 25 years, something like that. It's about top 5 tips. I'll put a link up there. Okay, so hopefully I'll catch you later. So that's the end of today's video. A couple of points before the outro. This video was not sponsored. Any Amazon link or eBay link below will be an affiliate one, but it's going to be clearly marked, and if you click on them and follow through with the purchase, you are going to help the channel with a small kickback, so everyone wins. Also, please, if you have a question you want to ask me, check this link above or below where I talk about the right way to ask questions, because you need to give me very specific information, otherwise it's very frustrating for both of us. And also, I've started doing a troubleshoot series on the tech computer and laptop repairs that's been requested for so long, so check that out, and I shall see you next time. So once again, guys, thank you so very much for watching. Like, dislike, comment and share on this vid, and if you haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing so you are notified for my next videos. Until next time, peace out.